New governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, was sworn in on December 27, 2023, if you remember, has nominated a former deputy clerk of the National Assembly, Olayide Owolabi Adelami. I hope I got that right.
Yes, got it.
To become the deputy. Now, this development was confirmed by the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Olamide Oladiji, who is constitutionally the number 3 citizen of the state. It is a warm welcome to the new number 2 citizen in Ondo State. What do you say?
Well, anyway, probably the new governor is trying to stabilize. He planned a political coup, and this first coup is to pick somebody from a war, where the late governor came from. Secondly, this man stepped down for Akeredolu during the second term in office. He contested for the APC.
Okay, the deputy governor
now he contested. Probably the calculation of the governor, like it is normal in Nigeria, the governor will want to succeed himself.
That's the man's face on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
The governor will want to succeed himself next year. This year, during the election this year. So that's his political move. Well, it is now left to whether the new deputy who is speaking from a war has the same political structure or has the same weight as Akeredolu, or is accepted by the supporters, because that's another thing. The supporters of Akeredolu, who is eminently influential in Ondo politics until he breathed last, whether they will embrace this one. But it's a carefully calculated political move by him to get the supporters of Akeredolu to his side. And you and I know that while the governor was alive, the former deputy Aiyedatiwa was not particularly in the best of relationship with the members of the State House of Assembly. So how he will navigate with this man is another thing. Because the primary has to come.
If you were Lucky Aiyedatiwa, would you have sacked Rotimi Akeredolu's appointees?
I wouldn't have exactly, because of politics. You know, the appointment of this man came barely 24 hours after he sacked all the political appointees. And you remember that any political appointee, whether an advisor or a commissioner, has his own followers. Okay. That's why I'm saying that the man tried to plan a coup. Whether that coup will work is another thing, because all those who sacked, they cannot be less than 25 or 30. If there are people who have political followers, he has more job to do to woo the supporters of Akeredolu, most of whom have been sent to the unemployment market to his side during the primary later this year.
Well, you come to my rescue here. So for Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, this is his first term as governor.
Yes.
But he's going to, the next election, is he likely to run for governor?
There is a very strong suspicion
that he might fly the flag.
The flag. And I think, just like my colleague said, the choice of Adelami, for so many reasons, to mend fences with the, Akeredolu's kinsmen, indigenous people of war, and also for strategic consideration. He needed to pick somebody that is not likely to contest the election this year.
I'll give him wahala in any
Yes. There's no way Owo will have produced a successor to Akeredolu.
Yes.
So picking somebody like that means that you are not going to have a deputy governor that will give you problem. The other strategic consideration...
Sorry, I hear that politicians evade picking another politician for the office.
Of course, because...
They go for technocrats.
Unless the party insists that, you must pick this, and let's say the party is stronger than the government. But in this case, the money has just, I think it's about 62 or 63. If Aiyedatiwa wins, if he contests and wins, in the next 4 years, there is no way this deputy, if he still picks him, will wish to contest election. Because he can, Aiyedatiwa cannot, the successor to Aiyedatiwa cannot also come from
a war again.
Before it comes to the turn of war, it's going to be a very long time. So he has created a kind of an atmosphere in the state executive that is going to be less acrimonious. And I also feel that by sacking the cabinet, I'm not aware of the objective realities, but I can suspect that he wants an ESCO that will, listen to him, that will enable him to carry out his economic and political agenda. there's no basis for him retaining those that are suspects, those that he thinks might sabotage his ambition. So I think the strategy in this case is that, look, I'm likely to contest for this election, and I want people in my cabinet, that can deliver my manifesto, that can deliver my aspiration, that can go out to work. Because no matter how powerful you are, if you're a commissioner and then you are no longer in that office, you are going to lose a lot of perks and privileges. The cars you are going to use to mobilize from one rural area to the other, the resources, and then your position as a commissioner will draw, will open new frontiers. People are not your friends, will come to you because they want one thing or the other. So I think he's building a structure that will enable him to, to contest effectively and probably also. But it needs to go beyond that, because that is not enough. You have to also get the consent, the support of the rulers of the principalities and powers in that both at the state level and at the national level. Yeah. And also, it also depends on how you are able to win your foes, bring them together, including those that are your enemies. Because in politics, the vote of a professor is the same with the vote of a sex worker. So you cannot push anybody away. Yeah. You need everybody to work with you as a team.
Today, when you remember what the late Napoleon Bonaparte said, he said, in politics, stupidity is not a handicap. So some things that happen in politics should not be taken for, oh, the man don't know what they do, He has said the man is calculating.
Well, in politics, before you kick the ball, you anticipate the head that it will touch in the opponent's side. Okay. Before making a decision, you have calculated that, or you have painted a lot of scenarios. This man will have painted a lot of scenarios. What is the political worth of the commissioners and advisors that he has sacked? How strong are they on the ground? If he gets his own calculation right, they may not have any bearing on his getting nomination, because you have to know that some others will be interested in flying the party's flag during the primaries. Yeah. And as the state governor, we all know that a governor of a state has too much influence on the structure of the party. So he's going now to go and weaken the structure that is inherited and try to erect his own structure. That informed is sacking the commissioners. Yeah. Because most of them will not likely be part of those people that will determine the primary. So it is a political calculation, but he may get it wrong. Like I said the other time, depending on all kinds of relationship, because he cannot sack members of the State of Assembly, majority of those who were opposed against him when the governor was ill. Yeah. Most of them were against him. He cannot sack them. Those people who were still on the ground. If the side commissioners and special advisors have the sympathy of majority of the assembly members, then Aiyedatiwa has a long way to go. Especially since the person that is speaking is not a politician, just a technocrat who served in the National Assembly. If he's not a politician, there is one thing for you to be popular, another thing for you to be influential, to have followership. If the deputy governor did not have followership in the war, and the other assists, may be a big problem.
Wale already knows that in Nigeria, being a deputy governor, or for that matter, being a vice president, is like being a rubber stamp.
Yeah, and much also depends on your capacity, how strong you are. There are some deputy governors that are quite, fearsome in terms of their influence, in the political space. But I think, I believe he has taken decisions that best represent his aspiration. Because the other thing is that when you sack your commissioners, you have also created hope, raised hope. Two things. They have been sacked, they could also be brought back. So, but that hope is tied to the wishes and aspirations of the governor. So the governor has made those sacked commissioners to also look up to him.
What's the place of the Godfathers in this?
Well, the governor has to take decisions that the constitution empowers him to take. But the Godfathers are waiting there behind the curtain. When it's time for primaries, that is when the Godfathers will now have to come on the field.
All right. Yeah, gentlemen, let's make some money. We will go on a commercial break now. We'll be back shortly. Please